About the difference between the pen tool, the pencil tool, the paintbrush tool, and the blob brush tool. Okay, this is going to go really quickly here. First thing we have is the pen tool. Pen tool works like dropping anchors, and you're pulling that path behind you. When you pull from an anchor, you get handles, and these handles control your curves. So you can break the handles off and make points. It's nice and smooth. It's really a wonderful, wonderful tool. You can also push command and select anchors and move them after the fact, or move handles after the fact. Or you can also push option and crack those handles and make points, or pull two brand new handles out of an anchor if you need it to have different curves. All right, that's your pen tool. You can also hover over anchors with that tool and also delete anchors or add anchors with it as well. All right. Next one is the pencil tool. So underneath your paintbrush tool, you should see your pencil tool. Quick key to get to that is N. Quick key to get to the paintbrush tool is B. So we're going to go to the pencil tool first here. Pencil tool, you're going to see I'm not dropping anchors. I'm actually drawing with my hand just the way I normally would with a pencil on a paper. And when you let go, it smooths out that line and puts the anchors wherever it needs them to be as accurate as possible. If I double click on this pencil tool, you'll see your pencil tool options come up, and you can leave this as accurate or as smooth. You can control what happens when you let go of that line, if it smooths it out even more for you. You can also control whether it stays selected, which you can see mine is selected, so that's why these anchors, you can see them still right now. I like keep selected on. I think it's a handy thing to do. And you can also, here it says edit selected paths within so many pixels. What that means is if I was to set this at a higher number, like 15 or something, and say, okay, when I draw something that it thinks I'm going for a shape, so for example, if I drew a circle and I stop far away and let go, if I am within a certain amount of pixels, it will automatically jump and seal the deal for me. Now, it won't always do it. It depends on how close you are to the original point and what you set that thing at for seal within so many pixels. So sometimes when you're drawing really fast and you want to just make a circle, see, that didn't do it. But if I double click on these settings, maybe I'm going to give it a bigger. Still didn't do it. There we go. That one did it. So if I'm like kind of moving fast, it might grab those pixels. Not working so good today, but it will work for you in some cases. That's the idea. After the pencil tool, we have the paintbrush tool. Now the paintbrush tool also does exactly what you make it do, like you're painting on a piece of paper, and it also smooths it when you let go. You can also double click on that tool and also have pretty much the same settings as you have in the pencil tool. You might be saying to yourself right now, well, what's the difference between the pencil tool and the brush tool? Why would I use my pencil tool over my paintbrush tool? The answer is the pencil tool wants to create a solid shape. So when you do go back there, it seals it and makes a solid shape. Whereas when you use the paintbrush tool, it does not do that. So even if you end on that end point, it's still going to leave an open path there. So it never actually joins those two final anchors, whereas the pencil tool will. So that's the difference in those two. It's really the only difference. Brush says it has all these different brushes you can pick, which it does. You can click on your brush and you have all these different brushes you can pick. But honestly, you could set those same brushes on your pencil tool as well. So it's not much different. The other tool is the blob brush tool. So if I was to hold down on my paintbrush, I also have the blob brush tool, which is Shift B. This one is handy for those of you who are doing work that's like kind of like illustration work. So, you know, in my class, I've given you very, you know, we started out really strict with the pen tool, and the reason is because it gives you smooth curves, but it also allows you to fill the shape in a solid way when you're done, so that you're not left with a whole bunch of scribble lines inside of your shape like that. But if you're the kind of person that's just kind of sketching and doing an illustration work, and you'd like to have something filled in and you don't want to do the outline first, you just kind of want to freeform it, this blob brush might be the way to go for you. So let me show you how it works. Now I'm going to double click on the tool and make my brush much smaller because it was humongous there. Say, okay, that's a much smaller brush. And you can see here what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw with it. And I'm not going to leave any white marks on the inside. I'm just going to kind of try to make a full shape. And when I let go, you see what that does? It actually gives me a solid shape. If I flip that around, you can see it's got a solid closed stroke. And it's fillable. So you can kind of draw from the inside out with the blob brush tool. You can also use the blob brush tool to fill things in, but the problem when you fill things in with the blob brush tool is that it's creating its own shape. So for example, if I wanted to kind of fill in behind this brushwork, if I go over here to my layers and give myself a new layer that's below that brushwork layer, and I'll make it a different color so you can see it, and kind of color this in here. And I'm going to move that below. You can see that now is behind my brushwork, but it's its own shape, and you know, they're not locked together in any kind of way, and you could definitely end up doing something that's kind of out of the lines kind of feel to it, but maybe that's what you're going for. So those are those different brushes. Have fun. Thanks for listening.